Welcome, Kapowians, and welcome to Kapow. Comics, cartoons, and collectibles are general topics of conversation here. I'm Sonia.
And I'm Al, and since it is the final episode of Season 2, we decided to come and hang out with some of our peeps here at Lovesack.
We did indeed.
And you know what that's going to mean?
What?
That's going to mean I get to sit down at some point.
And won't that be exciting for us all?
At the very least, it'll be extremely comfy.
Excellent. We will be checking out some very exciting things with a focus on books that you should be reading, such as Locke and Key and God Save the Queen.
Ooh, awesome. Plus, we're going to have a local creator, Stephen Crowley, dropping by to talk about some of his work, and we'll be talking to the guys from Curicon, who have a new site that will be of interest to you if you like to collect things.
Oh, speaking of collecting things,
Yes?
Ray is joining us later to have a look at the newly released Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle figures, which is very exciting.
Yes, it is.
Very
Now,
exciting
I
indeed.
really do hope he's going to get at least one out of the box.
I will make sure that he does.
Excellent.
Yes, but first, let's take a look at Animal Man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. After looking at the brilliant trade Lost Dogs in episode 3, we decided that we absolutely had to look at something else by Jeff Lemire.
Absolutely.
Had to. Absolutely.
There was no question.
No.
The thing is, he's actually been very busy
He has.
lately, so we're a bit spoiled for choice. But in the end, we decided to go with the new ongoing DC title with the New 52, Animal Man.
Animal Man follows the life of lesser-known DC superhero Buddy Baker, a guy who can tap into the life web, as he calls it, and take on the attributes and abilities of any animal anywhere.
Yeah. Now, in this world, the DC universe, obviously he's going in against guys who shoot laser beams out of their eyes or do magic, so his powers put him on kind of a second tier, really, in many ways, but I think that's part of his charm as a character. I mean, in this first trade, which, The Hunt, which collects the first 5 issues of Animal Man, I think he wears the superhero outfit 5 pages?
Maybe, yeah.
In total, over the course of the whole thing. But that's the thing with Buddy. He is a superhero second. He's a husband and father first.
Well, as he says himself, he's just a guy from San Diego with animal powers. Yes, he can fly and he can punch as hard as an elephant, but he is essentially just an everyman. And who better to write an everyman superhero than Jeff Lemire?
No, absolutely. Interestingly, though, he only writes for this. Lemire doesn't do the art.
No, that honour goes to Travel Foreman, who, I've got to say, has done some of the most messed up, amazing artwork I have ever seen.
Yeah.
I'm turning pages, kind of reading, looking, and then all of a sudden you get this massive page and it's like, oh, can't look away, it's too cool, but it's really messing me up at the same time.
Yeah.
This guy has a real twisted, surreal, and creepy edge to his artwork.
Yeah, which is a good thing considering the subject matter. I mean, Lemire has introduced an oncoming peril called the Rot,
Ugh.
which is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. I mean, this is decay and disease-made flesh, and it's a threat not to only every form of animal life on the planet, but also every form of plant life, which means that we have a crossover with Swamp Thing to look forward to as well.
That means Lemire and Snyder working on the same book. So happy. Makes me so happy.
It's going to be awesome. Now, a word of warning, though, as you probably gleaned, this is in many ways a horror story.
Yeah, it is.
There are themes and there are images in here that are not suitable for children. I mean, to give you a bit of an idea, a deformed, hideous creature slowly eating a dead guy is not the most disturbing thing you will see in The Hunt.
No, it's not. But if you can get past that, you have a really amazing story about a guy from San Diego who has animal powers, just, looking after his family and happening to save the world at the same time. Animal Man from the New 52 DC is definitely a book you should be reading.
Okay, and now we are talking to Matt from Curicon. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, not at all. Now, obviously, the obvious question, what is Curicon?
Well, we like to think of it as a new home for the pop culture collector.
Yeah.
So it's got comics, action figures, trading cards, anything you'd find at Comic-Con. We want people to share, buy, sell, trade, learn, meet each other.
Yeah.
Just a new place to hang out and be a collector. A better place.
Now, obviously, there's been way more of a focus, it seems to me anyway, on pop culture and things like that recently. Why do you think that Curicon is such an important thing at this stage?
Well, I mean, I've been collecting since I was a kid. That's the main reason why I built Curicon, decided to found it. Comics, action figures, trading cards, everything, even rocks. I mean, anything that was collectible, I would collect it. So when I realized that if you need to find something for your collection, or you're trying to keep track of what you've got, or you want to, buy and sell, and there just wasn't anywhere that was suitable for a collector. There was many different sites that could do little bits and pieces, but no one had brought it all together, and nobody had put it in the sort of Comic-Con space in the pop culture region. So we just dove in there and did it.
It's a sort of one-stop shop for everything that you might want to collect and get into.
Yeah, within that space, yeah.
All right, fantastic. Now, how can people actually find Curicon? Where is it at the moment?
Curicon.com.
Curicon.com.
Yep, nice and easy to find. Just Google Curicon, you'll find it.
Fantastic. All right. So I've been on myself. I've gone on. You've got a lot of stuff for people to check out, a lot of lists and things that people can go through, and it's all looking fantastic. What's going to be the next step? Because you've got sort of everybody can browse through and everything now. What's the next step for Curicon?
Yeah, so we've got the library there where you can add your collection and keep track of what you've got. You can add your wish list. You can talk to other people, ask questions, find out. Just hang out and share stuff. The next step, it's going to be the marketplace. It's going to be our killer feature.
Yeah.
Buy and sell, trade, no fees.
Excellent.
It's going to be big.
Yeah, that's that's going to be a huge step, isn't it? That's going to change everything for it. Yeah, it ties it all together. Okay, awesome. Now, one of the most exciting things, and certainly one of the, I got to be honest, main reasons that I got on the competition you're doing at the moment. You got to tell people a little bit about that.
All right. Well, I mean, if someone wants to go to New York Comic Con, if they're in Australia, that's probably a big ask. But at the moment, if they go on Curicon, nice and easy, you can sign up. All the information's on the homepage.
Yep.
We'll send you there, airfare, hotel, and tickets for 4 days.
Yeah, who's not going to want that? That's fantastic.
I'd be surprised if people didn't want it.
Yeah, seriously, right?
Yep. And there's plenty more ways to get extra entries. All the information's there.
Yep.
And it's a great competition.
All right, excellent. So obviously go to curicon.com. Check out the Facebook site as well. It's there's definitely worth a look. This is a very, very exciting new thing that you guys need to look at. Look, once again, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
God Save the Queen is a standalone Vertigo graphic that I picked up pretty much before I'd even started reading anything of Mike Carey's, such as Hellblazer or Unwritten or
Lucifer,
which is now in my top 5 favourite graphics.
Yeah.
I basically picked it up because I thought the cover art was pretty awesome and it was about fairies.
Yeah, but this is fairies spelled F-A-E, not F-A-I. You will not find these guys sitting at the bottom of your garden on a toadstool.
And if you do, run away really
Yeah,
fast.
as fast as you can. Anyone who has read the Neil Gaiman's Sandman series will have actually recognised a few of the characters that appear in here. You've got Queen Mab, you've got Titania, you've got Puck, you've got the Clurican, and not to mention Dream actually makes a tiny cameo in there.
Yeah, and if you haven't read any of the Sandmans, what is wrong with you?
Okay, shh. Steady, okay?
Okay, I'm okay. I'm
Sorry.
alright. I'm okay.
She gets like that.
Okay, the story in this one focuses on a civil war that's happening in the Fey realm, and a girl called Linda who unknowingly kind of falls in with a group of truant fairies, which in itself is awesome that there are truant fairies. What's not so awesome is the fact that they're all addicted to an intravenous drug called Red Horse.
You will not see that in Hans Christian Andersen.
You most certainly will not. I mean, this is a really cool story, but the thing that made it special to me is, of course, the artwork that's in it. I know. John Bolton's work in this is truly, truly remarkable. It's quite an interesting book to look at.
Yeah, no, it really is. And I think the contrast between the real world and the Fae is one of the most interesting things about it.
He uses a style of art called photorealistic painting, and it's fantastic to show those differences between reality and Fae. Oddly enough, though, you would have thought that the most striking panels would happen in the Fae world or the dream world.
Yeah.
But they're not. It's actually when they come back to realism that it's just remarkable.
I know what you mean. There are some great frames there. I mean, early on, there's when they're in the club and they're dancing. That was the first one that I really went, wow, that looks fantastic.
Absolutely. And then Linda falls back into reality after being in the Fae. And there's even one of her on the motorbike. It's phenomenal artwork in this.
It does look really, really cool.
Really cool.
Back to the story, though, because that is one area where I do have just a tiny little criticism.
Yes.
No, just a tiny one. You've got to admit, the male characters in this story are kind of one-dimensional.
Well,
Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are. But I mean, this is a story about queen fairies fighting each other and Linda and her mother, and it's a very female-dominated
Yeah.
story. It truly is.
And that's why I say it's only a mini. It's a criticism-ette, if you will.
Nice.
It's,
I like
it's a
how you
tiny,
create new words.
Yeah, you got to. I mean, and they're not the focus of the story, so it doesn't take away from the story.
No, it really shouldn't. I mean, this is such a cleverly written story, well-paced, and has such believable characters,
Yeah.
which is bizarre considering how most of them are fairies.
It's impressive.
But they're written with such believable voices that it's brilliant. I just love it. And the artwork,
Yeah.
love.
No, it is very cool.
God Save the Queen is most definitely a book you should be reading.
And now it's time for another Ask Kapow.
Indeed it is. Our first question comes from Jay Inglis. Hope I pronounced your last name right. He says, howdy Al and Sonia. If you could pick 5 heroes from any universe to form a supergroup, who would you pick and why?
Okay, well, Jay, first of all, thank you for almost getting me and Sonia into a fist fight.
Yep.
That was great. This was a really hard one to answer. Until we basically, the only way we could come to a consensus was we sat down and we worked out what skills we would need on this team.
Yes.
Now, we decided that we've got 5 to work with. We need a bruiser, a tech guy, an agile guy, a mystical person, and of course a leader.
Of course.
And this is our team.
Here we go.
For a bruiser, we went for She-Hulk.
Yes. Jennifer is not only super strong and really hot, but she's also a lawyer. So, you know, if you get into trouble, she can punch things or sue things. Perfect.
Our tech guy is going to be Cyborg from the Justice League.
Apart from being a secondary bruiser, which is always good on your
Handy
team,
to have, yeah.
Vic can fly, he can interface with any computer, and he comes with all attachments. He can probably even make margaritas with a blender attachment at the end of a post-fight kind of party.
It's going to be handy.
That would be awesome.
Now, our agile guy, we went for Nightcrawler.
Yep, Kurt's blue, he has a tail, and he can teleport. What more do you want?
Seriously, what
He's
else do
cool.
you need than that? Now, our mystical, this is a bit out of left field. We
Yep.
went with Willow Rosenberg from the Whedonverse.
Super powerful witch and cute as a button.
Isn't she though?
She is.
Now, finally, we had to look at our leader.
Yes.
Now, this one gave us a lot of difficulty.
This nearly
There's-
ended in blows.
Yeah, there's a lot of leaders out there. They got their pluses, their negatives.
Yep.
In the end, though, it could only be one guy.
Optimus Prime.
Boom.
Yep.
And that is our dream team.
It is.
Picture it. Seriously. Now, if you guys have your own ideas, or preferably if you want to knock together a picture of our
Yes,
team, I would
please do.
love to see that. Get onto us on Twitter or Facebook.
Yeah.
Now, our next question
Yes.
is off Facebook from Jake O'Brien. Now, he asks, what are some comics/graphic novels where the art is so stunning that, as Sonia often says, you would want to just stick it all over your walls?
Oh, Jake. What a huge question, especially to ask me.
Yeah.
There are so many artists that I adore and so many comics and graphics that I could just frame, but I'm going to tell you just a couple of my all-time absolute personal favorites. Okay, so first up, we've got Dave McKean, especially his work in Black Orchid. It is so fantastical and nuanced. I can just stare at this book for days, for weeks, for months, for years, and never, ever, ever get bored. It is that good. But that's pretty much anything from McKean.
Yeah.
I adore it.
You can't fault him, really,
No.
can you? No.
Second, I have Charles Vess. Now, we actually looked at his work in season 1, episode 8, when we looked at the graphic Rose.
Yeah.
He has the most beautiful fantasy art I have ever seen. It is so wonderful. But also, I love the more mainstream. His Spider-Man and Swamp Thing are fantastic. Are just brilliant. Now, if you want to go for something really stark, you can't go past Frank Miller's Sin City.
Yeah,
The
I love
art
that
in
stuff.
that is just beautiful. And of course, and I think I've said it before on a previous episode, anything from the black and white Batman series. Amazing artwork,
Yeah.
just fantastic. Look, tiny, tiny slice of the art that I love. There are so many out there, but
Yeah.
just don't do a Barjo and pull it all out of the book and put it up. Just don't do that.
That still hurts me a little
I
bit.
know. Save up, get a commission. But there you go. There's some of my favourite art.
Okay, so, well, guys, thank you again for asking Kapow.
Ow! Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Heroes in a half shell, to the power!
These guys look amazing, Ray.
Yes, they do.
Very exciting.
Indeed, they do. So much so that if you wanted to pick these up yourself, then you're going to have a little bit of patience. They're going to take some finding. Why? Because they are selling out worldwide. Am I kidding? No, I'm not. King's Comics, their first shipment sold out in the first 5 minutes of them hitting the shelf.
Really? You're going to go with the shell joke?
Yeah, you see what I did there?
Yeah, carry on, Ray.
Okay.
Keep talking.
Okay, so anyway, we decided to bring to you guys these figures to, tell you what all the fuss is about. Problem was, no one wanted to take them out of their cases. So luckily our director had one that was slightly open, so he cracked it and here it is. And yes, he's already replaced it, and no, he won't be taking the others out, and neither will I.
But come on now, don't you just want to get them out and play with them and do stories?
Yes, I do, very much so. And I'm not one to keep them in captivity, but look, I don't have anywhere to put them right now. That's my excuse.
Okay.
But I think that they're going to be an interesting collectible for the future, so I'm holding on to that.
Okay.
But let's get on to the details. They are the Retro Collector's figures by Playmates. Now, before we even get started into the specs, let's have a look at the box. Basically, great bright colors, reminiscent of the cartoons. They don't waste a lot of space in the packaging. And straight from the get-go, these figures look awesome. They look fantastic. They each have their personalized expressions. They all have the color variant as per the originals, and they each have their iconic weapon, of course. Now, they are reminiscent of the original figures. However, I think they're more of a hybrid of the cartoon and the original, and aesthetically, that's why I think they're so pleasing and are so popular.
Yeah.
Now, on the weapons themselves, they don't come with as many varied snap-offs types as the originals did. There was a lot of different, knives as well as different swords and all that sort of thing.
Sure.
But what you may feel is lacking in the accessory department will certainly be made up for in the flexibility department. The head, shoulders, elbows, torso, hips, knees, the ankles and the toes all move, which is fantastic.
Crazy.
Never before has there been a TMNT figure that is so posable and articulate, which is fantastic because the poses that you decide to put them in are only limited by your imagination. Personally, I love just having them there in a casual pose, but you can even make a definite difference between their offensive or a defensive position, which makes for great modeling if you wanted to set them all up, in a fight position or whatever you like.
Pretty cool.
So,
and their
yeah.
joints are all really strong too. It's a
Absolutely.
really stable figure, which is nice because, you spend all that time kind of deciding how you're going to put them together and then you sit them down. These guys aren't going to wobble or fall over.
No.
They're just going to stay there, which is so cool.
Yeah, well, they come with a little stand as well that
Yeah.
can help you with some of those more difficult positions. But it's a good point you raised. But if you are going to use them as a toy, then be a little careful with them because over time, just through wear and tear,
Yep.
some of those joints will start to wear through and start to slip a little bit. But they should hold pretty well. They're very sturdy figures.
They do seem really sturdy.
Yeah, but another great point about them is that their stature, unlike the originals, they're actually quite small, quite squat, but these are definitely going to compare next to your other 6-inch figures that you might have at home. They're not going to look out of place. They actually look like real turtle men, which is great.
They do. Now, small point, but something that I've noticed
What?
is they all have pupils.
Yes.
Which is awesome because often they have monochromatic kind of eyes.
They do, yes.
I will just say though, when you're kind of choosing your turtle, check their eyes because some have kind of a wonky pupil heading off to the left or the right, or there's
Yep.
maybe a little scratch or something.
That's
So
right.
if you want to
Good
get
advice.
perfect, check them out. Other than that, I think these guys are amazing and they kind of take me back to my childhood. So they're a buy from me.
Yep.
Such a buy.
Absolutely, they're a fantastic figure. I'd say they're the best TMNT figure ever created.
That's a big call, Ray.
It's a big call, but they are seriously that good.
They are pretty cool.
Look, these are only a series 1, which makes me think that there is going to be another series. Perhaps there's going to be a variant or another edition, which means that these guys are going to become instant collectibles. So. Do you want to keep them in the box? Maybe so. But also, I think Playmates are going to work on extending the collection. So if we see an April or perhaps, a Krang or Shredder, Bebop, Rocksteady, even some foot soldiers are going to make this collection awesome.
I
So
just want an April.
I'm thinking about buying another 4 so I can play and display. Excessive? Yeah.
Sure, but worth it.
Yeah.
Totally
because
worth it.
it's a buy from me. Big buy.
Big buy.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay, so now we're talking with Stephen Crowley. Thanks for coming on the show, first of all.
Pleasure. Thank you.
We usually like to start with if you give us a bit of background how you got into comics creation in the first place.
Right. I've loved comics ever since I was a kid.
Yeah.
Been drawing, my version of Catman before Gail Simone's Catman, etc., all that sort of thing. Very much into Asterix, Tintin as a kid. I think that probably helped as a bit of an influence in that regard, the European style. And but then as I grew up into more superhero stuff, so 'cause I've been reading comics for a while now. The John Byrne Fantastic Four was what really kind of kicked me into superheroes comics. And then I worked for a while with a company known as Streetwise Comics. They did educational comics for young people, disadvantaged people, that kind of thing. There was a great cartoonist there, Ross Carnes, who learnt a huge amount of him. It was great because I was actually able to work with someone who was great in the field. So yeah.
Okay, fantastic. And so your book starts with a webcomic, which is Magellan. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, Magellan's been around for 8 years now. It's about 800 pages online. It's a superhero comic ostensibly, but it's like taking a gigantic superhero universe, condensing it down into one title. Essentially, it tells the story of an academy that was set up as a legacy to Magellan, who died fighting a demon invasion back in 1973. And the main character is Casey Jones. She actually has no superpowers, but she's managed to get into the academy despite this. So the story deals with her struggles along with all the other cadets and general mayhem.
Now, there's obviously, I've read some of the books. You've got the hard copies we've got here. So we've got sort of 3 volumes there. Now, humour is obviously a very important part of this, from having read it. There's a lot of laughs to be had. Is that always what you were intending to do when you set out to start writing this?
Yeah, I think so. What I find with comics, as much as I love them, is that sometimes they tend to be a bit overly serious.
Yes, yep.
And because, like I said, Tintin and so on was a bit of a...
There was always a sense of humour to that sort of
stuff. That's right.
Yeah.
A bit of slapstick or verbal wordplay, that kind of thing. So I like to see that in comics, but I think because it's a web comic, it's about building a readership, getting them back update after update. I try to do 2 pages a week, but you still need a page that's going to hook people in, bring them back. So I try to end the page with like micro cliffhangers in a way, not just for the sake of a cliffhanger, but so it's either a bit of humour or a little bit of drama or a little bit of both. And often, silly things appeal to me greatly, so I'll put that in as a joke, and if it amuses me, I don't know if it amuses anybody else.
At the very least, you'll be amused.
Yeah, that's right. I still sometimes read back over it a few years later and go, yeah, that's funny.
Excellent. Well, look, if at least one person's laughing, somebody else is bound to.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, and where's the best place for people to get a hold of this, to have a look at your work?
Okay, so that's through my website, magellanverse.com, and there's a link on the front page to buying the books.
Great. So obviously, so you've got the hard copies as well.
Yes, that's right. At the moment, it's only set up for Australian purchasers because the postage kills, and I got to find a good print on demand overseas that'll do like a 300 page book, which is what the 3rd chapter is. So,
it's certainly, you can see the progression of length. You've got number 1, you've got number 2, you've got number 3. So obviously, it's you're expanding as you go.
That's right. Well, I tried to keep the subsequent chapters a little on the smaller side, and throw in a few short stories here and there. But chapter 3 was a 3-year marathon.
Yeah, it must have been quite an undertaking.
Oh yeah.
Right. Well, look, guys, Magellan, it's a fantastic book. I highly recommend everybody go and take a look at it at the website and order it as well. It's fantastic. Once again, Stephen, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Locke and Key Volume 1, Welcome to Lovecraft, was a book that I actually picked up because I assumed it would have something to do with H.P. Lovecraft. I was completely wrong, but I'm still really glad that I picked it up. Now, Welcome to Lovecraft actually follows the ill-fated Locke family, who moved to a New England mansion called Key House after a horrific tragedy tears their lives apart.
But of course, once they get to the town of Lovecraft, the problems are just beginning. Bodhi, Tyler, and Kinsey, the 3 children of the Locke family, begin to uncover the secrets of Key House, most of which revolve around, funnily enough, the use of magic keys.
which honestly sounds a lot more soft and fuzzy and fanciful than it turns out to be. For example, the first key that the youngest child, Bodhi, finds allows him to roam around as a ghost. But of course, this does mean that he goes through a doorway and his body drops dead to the floor.
Dead.
So there's some nastiness there.
Yeah.
Added to this, they've got an escaped homicidal lunatic coming to get them, and there's the evil presence that lives in the well house down at the bottom of their garden. You know what? This actually isn't that far away from H.P. Lovecraft, is it?
It's really not at all. You've also got a sense of impending doom.
Check.
Dangerous secrets.
Check.
And really crazy magic.
Check.
Pretty much even basing it in Massachusetts is a Lovecraftian kind of thing.
It really is.
It's fair to say if you like H.P. Lovecraft, you're going to love this book.
And I do. I do love this book. It's fantastic. Look, it kept me guessing the whole way through this first volume, and I really engaged with the characters as well, even Bodhi. And you know for a fact that the cute little kid in any of these stories is usually the one that bugs the hell out of me.
I know. Al, I gotta say, I actually found this book kind of hard to finish.
Really?
Yeah, nothing to do with the quality at all. Nothing at all. This is a
would hope
great
not.
book.
Yeah.
Basically because it scared the bejesus out of me. This is a really creepy book, and
Yeah.
the art style that's used makes it even creepier somehow.
It's an interesting point. I mean, it's almost cartoonish, isn't it? It's
Yep.
so bright and cheerful amongst the blood and the evil spirits. From the very beginning, it shows that sort of dichotomy. I mean, you've got this incredibly idyllic-looking front door, flowers, some grass, a little butterfly going past, and then next frame, you've got two guys standing there with a gun and a hatchet.
Cue terrifying home invasion. This book is dark from the beginning, and it's before you even get to the supernatural stuff, it's already giving you the creeps.
Yeah.
I was really unsettled by this book. Like, it took all my willpower not to just hide it under a pillow and run away.
But you persevered.
I did persevere, and I'm really glad that I did, because it is brilliant, like I said. The story is fantastic, the artwork is amazing. It might give you a nightmare or two for 2 or 3 months later, but it's totally worth it.
It certainly is. Look, the first 5 collected editions are available right now.
Right now.
So there is no excuse. You've got to get out there and start uncovering the mysteries of Key House. Lock and Key is definitely a book you should be reading.
That is all we have time for this week, guys, and indeed for this season.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're done.
Bye.
No, wait.
wait.
Steady on there.
What?
We have to announce the winner of our Walking Dead variants and Blu-ray Season 1, thanks to King's Comics.
Sorry.
So, guys, the winner is here.
Yay.
So, look, thank you very much. Congratulations, and we'll be sending out your prizes very soon.
Indeed, thanks for all your entries, guys. I have been making many detailed notes.
What are you guys doing
Many.
over the break?
Well, I was thinking I might invent a new language, something based around like pops and clicks and whistles, kind of like a dolphin.
Nice.
Excellent,
Yeah.
excellent. I'm going to build a fallout shelter for the zombie apocalypse, which I know is coming soon.
Okay.
Oh,
Right?
I'll probably just hang out at King's, wait for you guys to come back.
Ray, you have to go out.
See the world.
At least once.
Yeah.
Not yet, though.
No,
Calm
wait,
down.
wait. We'll
We'll
tell you
finish
when.
this first.
Yeah.
Okay.
We will be back in October, guys. We'll be doing lots of specials, reviews, collectibles, cartoons. We're going to do a fantasy special. We're going to have a look at game to comic crossovers, all general silliness that we like.
Yeah, that's going to be great.
Yeah.
So look, once again, with thanks to King's Comics and Lovesack, we will see you in a few weeks' time.
Indeed. Bye,
Bye.
guys.
Bye.